Just so you know, there are a lot of narcissists and narcissistic spiritual leaders that are going to be on your spiritual journey.
Even there, when you're self-helping and trying to guide yourself, you're still the problem. You're still the cause.
Oh my gosh, this isn't working. They say if I just follow all the rules in this religion or whatever, I'm going to have these blessings, and yet everything is falling apart.
This is when you know, okay, there's something really off.
You just don't feel good enough. Like, I just must not be doing enough. Why is it so hard? Why do things keep hitting me?
And that's where I would find my utter peace with my essence.
You most likely have experienced narcissism in your life and are realizing how much damage this has caused. And you might have been going or are going on a spiritual path to free yourself. And just so you know, there are a lot of narcissists and narcissistic spiritual leaders that are going to be on your spiritual journey. We want to explain why and help you bypass the pain, especially if you have experienced narcissism in your life. So, why is narcissism so rampant in new age spirituality? And why is it so appealing to them? Let's talk about this, Rain.
Yeah, we got to talk about this. This is so important because the spiritual world that we're all like jumping into is is a place in which we've left religion behind. Maybe you're still religious, but you're adding something more to you. Maybe you've left religion completely behind because of the fear of God, heaven, and hell. And so you're stepping into spirituality just to find yourself and find source. But in this world of spirituality, narcissists have, it's like this delightful playground where they know the light workers, the empaths, the sensitives who are incapable of trusting themselves, um, have been narcissistically abused, duped, hurt. This is where they will go to search for healing, to feel better about themselves, to develop self-trust. So they know this is where they're heading towards. And because now it's everywhere on YouTube, so many books about it, they can easily read the language of it, right? They can read the lingo like, oh, we're going from 3D to 5D. We're doing this, we're doing that. Something I have to write 3D to 5D. We're doing all this stuff. And this is the language. So as we've mentioned before in a few episodes back, how narcissists mimic the empath. I think that's a very important episode to watch, and we'll link it up for you. So when narcissists mimic the empath, they can also mimic with ease the spiritual evolution that we're going through. So what are they going to do? They're going to go in naturally. They're going to be like, oh my God, this is a heaven. This is like Candyland, basically. They've got all these empaths that are trying to trust themselves again, that are trying to be attuned to their intuition. So what are they going to do? They're going to just hop right in and say, hey, I'm here to help you. I went through my story. So a lot of them have from rags to riches stories, from abuse to now they're free, from cut off the whole world to be in my center, to love myself again. And in that space that they're gravitating to take control of, there are all these disempowered empaths. They've all been narcissistically abused. They've all been through toxic relationships. They've all had a hard time speaking their truth, feeling their intuition, and this is where they'll go. So it is truly a delight for a narcissist to sit, because all they have to do is sit back and put on this show that I know it and I've gone through it and I've done this ceremony and I've done this plant medicine and I've gone here and I went and spent like a month alone in the desert or in a tent or in a mountain. And so they're taking things also from religion, like how like Moses went up to the mountains and then got a revelation. So now they can come up and say any crap that comes out of their mouth, and the empaths who are searching deeply to learn how to trust themselves again will fall into the trap again, because it's so normal for us empaths to go from one narcissist to the next to the next. Now imagine going to the next narcissist that's actually like the guru. I've learned it all. I know it all. I have all the answers. I did this for myself and I will do it for you now. So the reason it's such a feeding ground for them is because narcissists live on supply. Supply meaning I can receive from you everything and I am your God. So you'll notice a lot of these spiritual people, and they don't even have to be gurus. They can just be somebody who just like the last 2 years, for example, started to feel like, oh, started to understand things, and they learned the language, and they read a few books here, and they went to a few seminars here. They're not going so that they can evolve, and they're not going so that they can learn. They're simply reading those books and teaching themselves these things just so that now they have the language, okay, and the act. It's a performance, so that we empaths can look at them and be like, oh, they really know. And now you're going to wonder, you're going to be like, yeah, but a lot of times they have intuition and they say things that are true. We have been duped into believing that only good people are intuitive, that only if you're with the light, which is also part of the narcissistic teachings, if you are with the light, then you are intuitive. Then you receive from divinity. Then you can channel. Then you can know what these people are about. Then you can learn. Then you can help everybody else. It's a lie. It's a complete and utter lie. I've known so many narcissists, and so does Mel. We know narcissists who will know things. They will attune to your energy. They will tell you stuff. They will get intuitive hits. It is true. It doesn't mean they're good or they're bad, because every single human being on this planet has that ability. They just have that ability. The difference with narcissists is that they believe the lie themselves that they can do it. They are tapping in, but they don't have any empathy for you. They don't care. They're just so happy that they've tapped into something that they can hook you and lead you to trusting them, believing them, and following their truth and what they want you to do. They basically want you to put them on a pedestal, even when they say stuff like, I just want to be there for you till you stand up on your 2 feet, and then you can take care of yourself, because I don't want anyone attached to me or codependent on me. They will use the same exact language we all use. Okay. So there are the good spiritual leaders. They do exist. The ones that are taking over the media, the ones that are taking over the bookstores, the ones that have all these amazing like seminars and workshops and ceremonies and all that, you really got to watch out, because a lot of them don't have their heart in it the way you are seeking. You are seeking to feel better about yourself and truly step into yourself. That's not where they're going to take you. They're going to narc you again and again and again and again, and you won't be able to get out. The only way to get out is if you spiritually evolve into yourself. So there are a few points I would like to share. One of them is this whole 3D and 5D. So this is something to watch out for. You've got this 3D and you've got this 5D. And now the whole world is talking about, oh, we're in 3D and we're moving up to 5D. And there's this whole like thing. And then you look at the news and you're like, shit, it's still 3D. Oh my God, shut the news. And I don't recommend anybody to watch the news, but in general, you start to look out and you're like, it's still the same. Why isn't it changing? Oh, let me go back in and do my meditations and disconnect and all that stuff. The difference is, okay, there's a little glitch here. And it's always with a narcissism, it's a little bit of a glitch, okay, which is where you need to be available too. You need to be attuned also. It's not only them. So you need to attune. So yes, I'll watch the news, I'll notice shit is still happening, even though I meditated 20 hours a day. I'm like fasting, I'm intermediate fasting, I'm like loving everyone and doing all the stuff, right? And working through my limiting beliefs. Like you're doing all the work and then you peak and you're like, oh my God, life is still hell. 3D and 5D have nothing to do with the world outside. If a lot of us stop watching the news, okay, I watch it once a month, and not even all of it, just little bits of it, so that I can see where my passion lies. Maybe one of them will give me a drive to go support something, right? Not fight against, but support something. It could ignite something like that. Some of you empaths are doers, okay? You can go out and make a difference. And that's why it's good to watch it every once in a while to notice what's crawling up, what's that intuition that's coming up for me to move forward with it. Maybe you'll like somewhere in the news, it's like there's a flood here, or there are these kids that aren't getting any food, or there's a war happening here. What can I do? And you'll feel the passion for it. Okay, you're not going to do it through guilt and shame. You're going to do it from a state of passion. That's one thing. Now, the spiritual gurus will deny it completely. And yes, it's not good to watch. I never recommend to watch it. I just recommend it as if I can't find my passion to support the planet and I'm a being of action based, like I like to go and support, then I'll open the news to see what clicks with me. And then I know that this is my calling. It's a different way of seeing it than how the narcissists are providing it through the spirituality. 3D and 5D only and only will ever exist within your own paradigm. Meaning, when I'm in 3D, I am thinking negative thoughts about myself. Okay, I'm putting myself down. I'm putting the world down. I'm demeaning myself. I'm shaming myself. I'm guilting myself. I'm going through hell within me. Now I'm in 3D. 5D means I am kinder to myself. I'm gentler to myself. If I didn't say the right thing at the right time, I can still say to myself, that's okay, Rain. Maybe next time you can answer better. I love you. That is being in the 5D. So 3D and 5D has nothing to do with the planet itself because we ourselves are a planet walking. So this is something to really pay attention to when it comes to the spiritual gurus. Another one is there's the state of grandiose ego. So you will notice a lot of the spiritual talkers and leaders, and you just get on YouTube. I mean, you will see them and you will notice that the way they speak is very much pumping the ego. You are God. You are the one. You are the powerhouse. You are everything. You are you are the matrix itself. Everyone else is just a hologram of yourself, right? And so, what is that doing? That is building a lot of ego. What is narcissism? Narcissism is you look at yourself and you think there's no one else. No one else matters more than you, right? So, what happens with empaths is because we don't matter so low, it's so low. So, when we go to one of these seminars or do these ceremonies where we want to start to matter more, we will believe that to matter more means I have to identify others as just a projection of myself, right? I have to identify others as mere peasants in comparison to who I am, right? So, as long as we are being taught to make our ego large, although we're not being told it's the ego, we're saying, oh, it's your heart. Talk with your heart, expand your heart. The way that they're teaching the heart coherency is a little bit out of whack. Okay. It's listen to your heart, feel with your heart, da 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 da. Well, how do you even do that? Right? How do you do that? So they tell you, oh, it's what your heart is saying. Okay. So if your heart feels this way towards somebody, then they're bad, then stay away from them. Right. So it's a very big mix up. It's just you'll notice that it's yes, you are the center of your world, of course, your emotions, but not the way that it's being said. It's being portrayed as you are the center of the universe and everyone can go to hell, right? Nobody matters anymore. And that's not the way it is. Everybody does matter, but you also matter. So the difference is that you're not trying to supersede others, but you want to be an equal to others. Empaths are below everyone. The only place we want to be is we want to be an equal to others. That's the difference from the spiritual stuff we're listening from narcissism. They want us to be above everyone else. That is narcissism. They're trying to turn everyone into a narcissist, right? You don't want to supersede others. What's the point? You want to be equal to everyone. So, yes, as they have the right to say their no, I have the right to say my no. My no doesn't have to be more important than their no. Both our no's are cool. I can be angry. That's another thing, our emotions, right? In the spiritual world, you got to think happy thoughts all day, think happy thoughts, be happy, be in gratitude, state of gratitude, state of gratitude. Yes, thank you does really, really help. When I'm feeling really gunky and shitty, I will say thank you, thank you, thank you as I'm feeling gunky. But I'm not thankful because I'm like, oh, thank you for the house. Thank you for the car. I'm not thanking the things I have. I'm thanking the fact that these emotions showed up and I am present to them. That's the difference. That's what gratitude actually means. I am feeling like crap. I just got humiliated. I just got disrespected. My thoughts are telling me shit about my future. I'm in so much pain. And I'm just going to repeat, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for what I don't know and who cares, right? But in the spiritual narcissism, it's thanking for the things you have. It's very different, right? It goes immediately into the material world. Immediately. Well, Thank you. Thank God you have a home over your head. You have a good husband. You have kids. You have a floor. You have food. You have no. It's thank you for the feelings I have. That's they're very slight differences. You use exactly the same terminology. You're just going to do it differently because it's going to be you're trying to bring peace to yourself. Okay, so that's another way that it's being done. And you're being gaslighted constantly by it's always you are the problem. So, why did that guy yell at me? Right? Like I was saying, my brother in law yelled at me and humiliated me. Why did he yell and humiliate? So, instead of me thinking in a different way, I will naturally go back to what the empath in me does, which the narcissist will do to me always, and blame myself. Now I'm like, what did I do? Is it a projection of what I am inside? Is it a projection? Is it me? What did I do to manifest this as my reality? Okay, do I have an inner child that has caused this person to speak to me this way? Oh, wait, I have to forgive this person for speaking to me this way or then. And so you've got all these, but all the techniques that are being shared are blaming yourself, figuring out what you did wrong to invoke somebody acting completely stupid or being a narcissist towards you, right? What's gaslighting and what's the greatest trick is how does it become your fault? Okay, so it's your fault all the time. So even if someone's a piece of shit around you, it is your fault that it is because you've got a wounded child, you're projecting it, you're doing it. Somehow you are at fault for making this person become that way. That is gaslighting in the spiritual world and realm, right? So self-reflect, sit with self, take responsibility. What am I taking responsibility for? Nobody tells you what you're taking responsibility for. People just throw out there, take responsibility for what is happening in your life. Take responsibility for how you're feeling. What does it mean? Why are you throwing words out there? But because they can't explain it, they're narcissists. They can't give you the depth of it. And then they tell you, feel inside of you, feel your inner self. It will answer you back. It will do the thing. I remember one of Mel's stories. I've got a million stories, but one of Mel's stories was like the person who was narking her in the spiritual world was basically telling her, well, you got to listen. You got to say it the way it is. It's your intuition. You're the problem. You figure it out. And she was like, but you're the spiritual guru that has intuition. Like, can't you just solve it right now for me or tell me what it is? And it's this shaming, guilting. So now you'll go into yourself and you'll try to figure out, well, okay, is it my inner child? Is it a trauma? Is it a wound? I don't know. What are you doing? What do we all do when we're in narcissistic relationships? We try to figure out what we did wrong to trigger them. Okay, how is it our fault? This is what's happening in the spiritual realm, in the spiritual dimension. So you're always the problem. Even there, when you're self-helping and trying to guide yourself, you're still the problem. You're still the cause. Another magical thing that always happens is the whole you're God. And I understand it. We are all kinds of gods. We are not really God. That's the thing. Now, narcissists, just looking at narcissists believe they're gods. That's what keeps them going. They are the God. Okay. So if they can teach you how to be the God, okay, then they've won. They've gotten rid of empathy. They've gotten rid of love. They've gotten rid of all the wonderful things, the sensitivity in you, because now you're God, and how have we been taught who God is through religion? Powerful, in control, the one that takes all the decisions. Nobody else matters but God. He'll put you in heaven or hell and you don't know. And God was a narcissist, right? In religions. So what is that doing? So now you're a God, you're God itself. But it doesn't even feel right. Like I tried that for a few months, like, okay, I am God. And just something within me, it just couldn't settle. And I had to trust that it didn't settle well. Believe that I'm a breath of God, that I'm a creation also, right? And every creation has a breath of God in it. So let me tap into that breath of God within me, the essence of me, the truth of me, because that's the only truth in this human body. That felt more true instead of that grandiose feeling that I am the God. Who talks like that other than narcissists? Who feels this way other than narcissists? So that's also a trap in the spiritual thing, right? It's a narcissistic trap. And they also try their very best to get you out of your own personal discernment of truth. Their truth is the truth. They will channel something and you'll have to believe it. They will intuit something for you and you'll have to believe it. This is manipulation. So I can intuit and be like, oh my God, Mel, you're fabulous, you're amazing. They just watch out. There's somebody who really doesn't like you and they're going to backstab you. What is going to happen? How have I just manipulated her with words, right? It's not really a vision I've gotten with words. Most likely, everyone has somebody who doesn't like them in their life. What will I do? What will Mel do? We will think, who's the person that's backstabbing me? And where's my energy invested in the nonsense I was told instead of who's the person who gave me the nonsense? So now I'm not invested in, okay, this was nonsense, but I'm invested in the truth. This person, what they told me is truth, because and so many of them, just for everybody to know, are really, really well known. They're known in the worlds of spirituality, and people in herds are following just because they don't know how to trust themselves, and they're used to following narcissists and believing narcissists are confident. So there's a discerning of truth. You're the only one who can discern truth from falsehood. It is very hard to do that when you've been narcissistically abused, when you've been we've been with toxic partners and coworkers and friends. I understand that, but you will notice that there is in your body something that screams out to let you know that, ah, something is off. Now, spiritual gurus will make that you find something off. Again, gaslight your problem. Oh, you have a limiting belief that there's shadow work that needs to be done. Ooh, you're feeling this way. That isn't your intuition. That is a shadow. That's an inner child wound. That's a trauma. That's ancestral. They have so many things they can work with. They can sit and blame your own timeline. They can tell you this is karma. They can tell you this is your inner child. They can tell you this is shadow work. They can tell you this is ancestral. They can tell you whatever the hell they want to, and you're going to believe it. Why? Because they have a playground of different ways to always turn it back to you so that your intuition is wrong. So that even if you feel like something's off about what they say and you can't discern the truth, and you tell them, just doesn't make sense what you're saying. Please explain it more. We got to work on your limiting belief. What is your limiting belief? Does your limiting belief tell you blah, blah, blah? Is it that you're not worthy to hear the truth? Do you feel you don't deserve to hear what I just said to be true? Right? Twist it around.
This is so fascinating. It just makes me feel like, so like in religion, it's like you're taught like God is the one, he did this, and it's because you needed the lesson or whatever. It's like he's doing these things to you. And a lot of times it ends up like, you just don't feel good enough. Like I just must not be doing enough. Why is it so hard? Why do things keep hitting me? What did I do? I'm following all the rules. I'm doing everything. I'm checking all the boxes. And then you start to feel completely crushed where it's like, oh my gosh, this isn't working. They say if I just follow all the rules in this religion or whatever, I'm going to have these blessings. And yet everything is falling apart. And I did everything. And I lost my marriage. And my husband cheated on me. And I lost my kid, like all these things. And so then they get out of it like, oh, this isn't working. So then they come to this spiritual awakening. And then they're taught by the so called guru, because they're like, obviously they're lost. They're still needing support, safe support, but they're not getting it. They're still drawn to that same energy, but it's just a shift. So then it's like, rather than it being God as the puppet master, it's like it's you and you're doing it and you're wrong. And it's still self doubt. It's still you're not good enough. So it just keeps drilling in this message of I'm not good enough. And it's more of that I'm not good enough. So I think what we need to point out is like, how do they really know? Who are the safe people? And I feel for me, it's like those that tell you, like, how do you feel? How do you feel around them? Are they saying, oh, follow me, do this list, check this? Like, is it like you're following everything they say, like you need them? If so, you're dependent on them. There's a red flag, just like you were with your religious leader or the God or whatever. So, Rain, how do they know how to protect themselves to know the difference, especially when everyone's using the same words or tweaked words? How does one really protect themselves when they do need support? They haven't trust their intuition yet. They're working on it. We, yeah, how do they get through this?
Well, to get through it, it's to understand that the language that they are using is not a bad language. It's just the definition they've given these languages is is what's screwing everyone up. So in religions, fear God. Like what you said, Mel. Fear God, you're going to go to heaven if you do this. Like beautiful things are going to happen if you love and fear God and you do all the right things and you're still shat on. So then you go to spirituality. Every department. So you go into spirituality, and then in spirituality, you're the God. So if you can link it up, if I'm the God, but the God I learned in religion was an ass, a narcissistic, horrid human that, yeah, follow all my rules, but then you get nothing, which narcissists do. Oh, if you go do this and you do that, if you're polite, if you don't speak at the wrong time, then I'll give you thing. And you never get the thing. You never get rewarded, the reward you want. God is that. That's how we were taught God. Now you become the God. So you're a narcissist. That's basically what they're saying, right? But now instead of God punishing you, you're punishing yourself, right? You're going through that, like what you're saying, Mel. So now you're in self-punishment. This is when you know, okay, there's something really off. Because when you start to talk to yourself in a mean way, this is like, this is it. I am being mean to myself. Okay. This is it. I have been narcissistically duped. This is it. I am narcissistically abusing myself, or I am being narcissistically projected on, or there is a narcissistic spiritual person I listen to online, or I actually go to their seminars, or I do their ceremonies, and it's happening to me because I am feeling like crap about myself. This is the first thing. The most important thing is, how do I feel about myself? Not the grandiose, I'm a god, I'm full of power, I'm the light, that is nonsense, okay? That is absolute rubbish. That is spiritual rubbish, okay? Yes, when you are the light, you're not like, I'm the light, I'm powerful, I'm confident. No, that's ego, okay? Because the light speaks completely different. The light is so calm, it's so precious. It has nothing to do with telling anyone in the world who you truly are. You don't walk around saying, I'm the light, I am powerful, I receive, I do, I get, oh my God, you don't do that. We are learning to do that because the narcissists are teaching us that we have to express in that way. But that's the wrong sense of expression. I don't have to express who I am, because if I was comfortable with who I am, and I felt safe in who I am, and I trusted who I am, I wouldn't give a hoot who else cares or trusts it. It would just be mine. And that's where I would find my utter peace with my essence. So trusting who you are means I believe in myself and no one has to know. I don't have to go around, right? So we know someone who just has to go around flaunting all the time who they are in the spiritual. And sadly, this person and many people, they see private clients, they do workshops, they do ceremonies, they pretend they're, that's another thing me and Mel were talking about. And Mel got it to my attention, the whole like relieving evil spirits out of you, and you could talk about this, Mel, if you want, this evil spirit stuff and what they do. Like they try to make it seem like you're.
Yeah, it's as if they just act like they have these gifts that they're doing this big favor. It's like you don't even know you have anything, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm taking this out, I'm casting it out, I'm doing all this stuff. It's like, but it's kind of doing it in a way to one, it causes confusion because you're like, well, gosh, I didn't know I had that, and then you feel even more less than. But I think if anything, you're going to someone and it's not building you up, it's not inspiring you to feel better and to trust yourself, then that's a red flag. And if it's like, gosh, I didn't know I had this evil in me, and I had this evil in me, and like, okay, like anything that's going to cause you to feel less than is wrong. If someone is making you, inspiring you to feel better and to tap into yourself and to trust yourself and love yourself, okay, then that's a support that maybe you want to hold on to until you get to a point where you don't need it anymore. And like even with me and Rain, we just want to share all this great information to a point to build you up where you don't need to go to anyone. You have it all within you. We don't want to keep you roped in, to like, you have to follow us, you have to get all of our courses. Of course, we're going to have some courses to help you if you need them. We're also going to give free information. So I think that's to just pay attention. How do you feel? Do you feel good? Does it feel safe? And I think we're so disconnected to ourselves, us empaths. We think, oh, we're so good at feeling, But the sad thing is we are so disconnected from feeling ourselves. We're so good at feeling everybody else that we are a little bit lost. We are a little bit confused. We do believe the words. In fact, we believe the negative words to beat us up of feeling less than. And it's time to shift that to build ourselves up. But yeah, just pay attention to how you feel. If you feel icky inside, if you feel less than, or if you're like, I'm really glad I listened to that. I actually feel better. I feel like I have more energy versus less energy. That's a
Yeah.
start.
And the whole good vibes thing, it's very important to pay attention to this good vibes. But good vibes means like, okay, we'll talk about narcissism. When narcissists, when you come to when you have a problem with a narcissist and you go talk to them, and they'll always brush you off. They'll always make you, why'd you always bring me problems? I don't want to talk about, oh man, we're going to talk about this again. We're going to talk about your feelings again because it's low vibes, very bad. Low vibes don't talk about emotions. They could talk about theirs. They'll come and say, you did this to me, did that to me. That's fine. Low vibes, okay? High, you have to be high vibe, meaning I have to be always high vibe. If the person in front of me is doing anything bad to me, I'm in a high vibe. I'm in a great place. I won't be affected by these people. I won't be affected by anyone. What does the narcissist best thing ever? That you are completely accepting of all their shitty behavior because in your head you believe I'm a good person. I am an empath. I'm a good person. I'm just going to spread love and light. And it doesn't matter what this person's doing to me, you know? And that's not true. So this whole good vibe bullshit is a bullshit because no human being can, if you look at any narcissists, you will notice, and especially spiritual people, when you go behind closed doors, they are really awful people. The people that follow them are like, oh, they're just getting divine inspiration. Oh, they're just like, they need to go like sit alone for now and give me the silent treatment until they feel good enough to come out and speak to me while I suffer through my pain, right? Because they're maintaining a good vibe thing. They're not understanding that all emotions, if you can feel sad and angry and upset and frustrated and happy and joyous and excitement, that is a full human being. They want half a human being, right? So I know Mel is smiling because I know she has a very interesting story with the silent treatment. It doesn't look like a silent treatment from a spiritual person. It looks like they need to spend this time away somewhere in a forest or alone so that they can come back to you, but they'll let you suffer for 10 to 12 weeks in your misery and pain, waiting for them to come so they can delight you with their presence so you can finally release your pain.
Yeah, and it's confusing because they're like all nice and they're like, "Yeah, I'm the whatever," and it seems so like, oh, they seem really kind. Like it seems like they're really genuine about this, or so, but it's just this false thing, and it's weird, and it's feels like a holier than thou, or it's like they're so good, and oh, how come you don't do this? Or I don't know. It's weird. It feels off, and you just have to pay attention to those feelings and trust those feelings of knowing like, there's something off about this. This doesn't feel right. This is actually really rude and not fair, like to let me have my voice or to speak or to communicate together. It's like I just have to suffer while they're just having a good time, not feeling anything. Who knows? I don't know. Wild.
Yes, it's the silent treatment, but when it's done in the spiritual realm, it's done that way. In the spiritual realm, because you trust this person, because they've given you some intuitive insights, because they've removed a demonic entity from you. Now you have trust. They're my saviors. They can help me. Right. So when they tell you, oh, I cannot speak right now. I need to go in my silent cave to rejuvenate my energy so I can have space for you. You're sitting and suffering. How do you find out if someone's off for you? Is when you feel insecure. Insecure is like the biggest one. I am feeling worthless. I'm feeling insecure about myself. I'm in the presence of someone that is not coherent. Coherent meaning they're not clear, right? It's just the shell on the outside, the pretend on the outside. So, okay, Mel, I'm going to put you in this position, but could you please do the whole how do the spiritual,
Well, if you're doing the light language,
yeah.
be quiet. I'm healing you with light language. I can heal the world. So come to me. Yeah. No one can heal you except yourself.
Exactly.
Don't buy
So
it. Don't
You
buy the
know, like,
BS.
don't buy it at all, okay? Because you can do exactly the same thing. I mean, we can all do it. I mean, if Mel didn't have the funny face on, and we just made a whole episode where Mel's going to talk light language and heal you, you'd believe her. Why? Because we empaths, we really want to start to feel better. We're in so much agony and pain. We've been so abused, and we're willing to give our power to anybody immediately who can do light power stuff, or I'll take away the bad evil, or now you're going to feel better. So immediately you're hooked. How do narcissists hook you? They're the nicest people. Like Mel showed, they sweet, so sweet, and they're so like this and like that, and oh, and they have to share their really horrible story, how they went from rags to riches. They have to express that, and then how lovely they are. And wait, I felt something. Oh, no, I must go now. Oh, wait, I felt something. It's you. It's not me. I don't know what is talking to you, that, and it's always like that. So it doesn't have to look like someone mean. They could be the gentlest looking souls. You could trust them and believe them. Another wonderful thing to notice, the spiritual gurus, they're and for anyone who's into sexual healing, it's different. You can, sexual healing, I completely admire, but there's this new sexuality that feels very devious, like women, like get naked, and you'll find them on Instagram and everywhere. It's like lust for the body. And yet, nope, you can't lust for me if you're a spiritual being, a man or a woman. You can't lust for me. You must appreciate my body. And it's like this confusing thing that's happening. And it's all about these sexual movements and to come out into the light. Like, it's all very dark and very devious, right? To get a woman back into her sexuality or whatever. Just go to a private place with a private doctor. It's very personal. It's very much about your specific body, right? How you work, what is interesting for you. It's not this whole like women start to who's getting the best pleasure of us getting more and more naked, right? It's free. Pay nothing. Don't even buy the magazines anymore, right? So there's also that where we're not worshiping ourselves in our temples again and again, right? We're fighting for women's rights. We're fighting for this body, right? We're fighting to like self-respect, and I can wear anything I want. You're not allowed to put me down. Yes. However, this is still my temple to respect, right? That's what I believe, truly, like there's a fine line between that and this, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's just paying attention to, again, just how are you feeling? It's just coming back to that. Just trust yourself. We just want to help you release that self-doubt that I know a lot of us carry, especially as empaths, because we have such a big heart. We just desperately do not want to hurt anyone, but we are typically the ones that we put the back burner. We're the ones that gets hurt over and over and over again, and we do that just in hopes that we don't dare ever hurt anybody else. And that's just the wrong way to do it. It's we've been doing these like opposite sides of the pendulum, like one side to the other side. And that's the same thing with spirituality and like religion. We go from one side to completely the complete opposite. And it's just this unhealthy pendulum that people do. Same thing how a lot of us were raised. If you're raised with someone that's narcissistic, you either go the complete opposite and you shut down and you don't talk, or you become that. It's like, where's the middle ground? Both of them are unhealthy and toxic. So I think the whole goal is in our life and anything in our life, and this is the specific topic right here, is just finding that alignment. Pay attention to how you feel, how your body feels. Find support where you need it that feels safe, that feels sincere, and just be cautious and be aware. Pay attention to the red flags. We're trying to share some of them with you. And we just want to support you in your journey of finding inner peace and self love that's all within. Everything you have and need is within you. You don't need to pay anyone else anything. You don't need to do any of that stuff. Um, but I know sometimes you do need support along the way to get there, to know how do I do that. That's what I needed. I did need support from Rain. I needed private sessions with Rain for me to know how do I even go about trusting myself. I was so lost. So just we're here for support. And we want to hear your comments on this too, on this episode. If there was any takeaways that you've had from this episode, anything where you can relate to this, or have you gotten stuck in the trap? Have you left a religion and gone, and are you on your spiritual awakening journey? And just have you been duped before? Have you seen the narcissists out there? I don't know. Just share with us anything you want to share with us. Do you have anything else on this episode, Rain, that you want to add?
I just want to add one more example, my personal example. And I think I did share a bit of it on another episode, but this is just a quick thing as been like, even if the spiritual being has done this for years, it still doesn't mean so there is nothing from the outside, uh, even if it's referred by someone, right? When somebody's referred to you by someone, I want you to try maybe one session out or listen to one thing. But the most important thing is your brain is going to come in and be like, can I trust it? Can I not? I want you to, if you're able to put the mind aside a little bit and just notice, how does my body feel listening to this person? Right? Do I feel, like Mel was saying, elevated, or do I feel a bit contracted? Do I feel has this person triggered a fear in me? If you've been triggered a little bit of fear in you, then know that there is something wrong with the message that's being portrayed, because a true spiritual being or somebody who's spiritual awakening is searching for truth consistently. So we are constantly searching for truth, but I'm not searching for the person I can trust 100%. I can take 5% from this person, 10% for this, 50% from this person, but you can't just take a whole person as a being. The completion of a human is all the emotions. So also watch out to not put anybody on a pedestal ever, 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 ever. Somebody could have, like, you could listen to the whole episode and like 3% of what they say, and that's okay. So you have to give yourself permission to be okay with not loving all of what they say, but maybe taking some tidbits of it and knowing that the rest doesn't resonate. And it's okay if it doesn't resonate. It's okay, because maybe all your friends love this person X. Oh my God, this person, he's amazing. She's amazing. You have to listen to her, everything she says. And you listen to her. And this happened to me a million times. I listened to the person, I'm like, oh, there was like a few nuggets that I was like, hey, I can contemplate that for myself, but I will not follow or put a person on a pedestal. I think this is very, very, very important. Put no one on a pedestal. The minute you want to put someone on a pedestal, no, no, for sure. This means that you think they are better than you, which is a really bad thing. Because remember, you just want to be an equal to everyone on this planet. Okay? An equal, an equal. Empaths, we like to put ourselves below. We want to cheer everyone up. We want to make everyone feel better, because we're like, they're better than us. So let's fix them so we can feel better. But if we were equal, we wouldn't put that much energy to make miserable people happy, because they can never be happy. So spiritual gurus or spiritual teachers and the spiritual world is so dangerous for everyone and anyone who's been narked in their lives before, because they do the narcissistic way to a group of people. So it's not a one-on-one where you can detect it. It's in a group of people. So you're going to hear the group's opinions, which you're going to believe, especially if you don't believe your own opinion, right? It's so easy. It's the easiest way. They're like, let's build a community. Okay. Not that me and Mel are dying to build a community of light workers, but they have like, let's build a community. Why? Because whatever they fuck up in, if they have a community that are of servitude, then, oh my God, that lecture was incredible. Yes, I did this. And then the person that's like doubting it or feeling their truth will be ashamed of what they heard inside. I went through that. I'd be like, everybody loves her and I'm not. And they're all like, we were resonating with this woman. This was a few years ago. And I'm like, but I'm feeling so, I want to puke when I'm around this energy. But I didn't trust it. Why? Because the 10, 20 women that were on the same course were loving it. So then what's wrong with me? Right? That's why they build the community, so that these are flying monkeys. They're another one of you too, but they're still flying monkeys. Okay, I think I'm complete. I hope that made sense at the end.
Yes. Oh, I'm so glad you added that. I love that. Yeah, and really, that's really life is most enjoyable when there is an equal exchange of energy. If I feel like I'm just giving to someone all the time, it's like, okay, that gets exhausting. And if they're taking, or if someone's just giving to me, I don't like it. So finding that flow and knowing we all have different gifts. We were all raised with really big experiences in our life by our parents, the way we were raised, our home, our religion, our non, whatever it was. And so we all have incredible gifts that the other person doesn't have. So it's fun to just learn from each other. So always be a student, always being a teacher, and stay in that flow. Like she said, that can help you not do this whole pedestal thing. It's like, no, just enjoy. I learned from Rain. She has some incredible gifts. They're like, wow, but I have some gifts too that are unique. And we get to share and learn from each other. And it's really fun. So we believe in you. We're giving you permission to love yourself, trust yourself, be aware, be mindful of, as you're in your spiritual awakening, trying to grow and evolve, which is amazing. Kudos to you. Good job. Super proud of you. Keep doing that. And also just pay attention to how you're feeling. And like we said, if it builds you up and you feel better, then good. Maybe keep following that support group. And if not, then run away. Okay, well, we're going to link up. We've got a couple episodes that we mentioned. Our one, religion versus spirituality. We dive in specifically with that. I think that relates well with this. So we'll link that one up. And then another episode we're going to link up, either 7 traits of narcissism or how narcissists mimic empaths. We've got some good episodes for you guys to watch. So we'll link those up. You can watch them right after this. And then give us a thumbs up, subscribe so you can get all of our new episodes. We'd love for you to comment, like I mentioned before. So please comment what your takeaway was. If you can relate to this, we'd love to connect with you. We will respond to you. And yeah, and if you love this episode too, and it will benefit anyone in your life, please share it. Otherwise, we'll just see you on the next episode. Go ahead and click here.